We've all been pretty much taught that addiction is a negative. Being addicted to anything is a negative, whether you're addicted to food, drugs, alcohol, um, television, too much of anything has been programmed into our brains that it is a negative. It's not a good thing to be addicted. So, with that said, do you know of anyone who is addicted to life? I call them life addicted humans. They're addicted to life. Doesn't matter what they've gone through, what they are going through, what they see others going through. They are absolutely addicted to life. And a great example of that would be my mother. I care about my mother. I love my mother, but she is addicted to life, addicted to suffering. She has all kinds of health issues, pain in her body. I mean, every day. She has pain in different parts of her body. One day it's her arm, one day it's her legs, one day it's her head, it's her foot, it's sciatica, it's always something. Her back, it's always something. And she's a hardworking woman. She always makes sure that we have a good meal. Always made sure we had, food on the table. Always keeping the house clean and tidy and things like that. But don't you ever discuss death around this woman. Don't you ever speak about death in front of this woman. She will literally tell you to be quiet, tell you to shut up, tell you life is a gift. God gave us this wonderful life. And, she'll start rambling and praising God for her suffering. Thank you, God, for my suffering. At least I'm still alive. And it doesn't make any sense because she is a Christian. She is religious. She believes in God. She believes in the afterlife and heaven. And the way they describe heaven to be a place of no more suffering, no more crying, no more pain, no more tears. This is how the Christian religion explains or describes heaven. So if heaven is a place of no more suffering, why do you thank God every day for being alive and your life is full of suffering? I'm not the most intelligent being. I'm really not. I'm really not the most intelligent being. Like, when it comes to book smarts, no, I'm really not the most intelligent being. I don't know if it's because the school system is falsified anyways and a bunch of bullshit. But I've never been, that book smart. But I know when 1 + 1 = 2. I know when things add up and when things don't add up. So I just really don't get it. How religious people can say, heaven is going to be, this wonderful utopia. But every day they get up and they praise this God and they thank this God for a life that's full of suffering. What? Like, even if your life was considerably good here on earth, wouldn't you want to go to utopia? Like, wouldn't you want this utopia that's described in the Bible? Wouldn't you want that? Wouldn't you look forward to that? Some of these people, these religious people, they don't even want to speak about death. They don't even want to have a real conversation about death. They just And my mother, she goes to funerals more often than I do. So she's faced with death more often than I am. But does she want to have a real ass conversation about it? Hell no. Does she want to break down the logic of not wanting to die, of really just being addicted to life and holding on and clinging on as much as possible? I mean, this woman has herbs and teas and vitamins and medications. I mean, constantly looking for a way to prolong the inevitable. And I'm just like, what? I don't get it. I really don't get it. I don't know if it's because I don't have any attachments really to this life and I wasn't dumb enough to bring children into this bullshit, but I really cannot understand the logic of suffering every fucking day, working overtime to prevent the inevitable with herbs and medications, thanking God for your suffering, but you believe that when you die, you're going to go to some utopia in the sky. If you really believed in this utopia, which I don't think these motherfuckers really do, if you believed in this utopia, you wouldn't take medications. You would not boil teas. You would not take any, any precautions that would be against, death. You just wouldn't do it because you'll just be content and happy to go meet your sky daddy in the sky and live in utopia for the remainder of your whatever existence. They believe that once your brain stops functioning, you have some soul that's going to be everlasting in either heaven or hell. So I would think that a woman who was a religious woman who believed in God, who prayed every day on the prayer line, I would believe that somebody like that would just be confident to know that they're going to be living in utopia and just would rather, not saying, be excited for their death, but they would just let, the inevitable happen naturally. They wouldn't be constantly looking for ways to prolong the inevitable. I mean, they even have a song that they sing at her church, and I'll say it in English because it's a Creole song, but I'll say it in English, and it goes, "The world is not my home. I'm going to live in heaven." Or I'm going to, if you break it down in English language, I'm going to live in the sky. I'm going to live in the sky. The world is not my home. I'm going to live in the sky. Okay. They sing this song, but they're scared and terrified of dying. They don't even want to freaking talk about death and break down the logic of being terrified of something that's eventually going to creep up on you. They don't even want to talk about no real shit. Just let me live in my delusion. Let me live in my delusion. Shut up. Stop talking about that. I don't even believe in utopia after death. I just believe it'll just be nothing. Just nothing. Absolutely nothing. Just be food for the worms in the ground. That's what I believe. And shit, I'm just like, yeah, let's get this shit done and over with already. Let's get this shit over and done with already. Because it got to be better than waking up at 8 o'clock in the morning every day, getting in your car, driving in traffic to get to some place to make some other motherfucker rich, or to constantly be having needs and desires, or hunger, pain. I mean, there's got to be something better than this shit. Not that I'm having the worst fucking time, but nothing at this point sounds better than this something. So I'm very curious to know, does anybody know someone who's addicted to suffering? And what's your experience with them like? All right, I'm out.